다되니까 선생님이 레버 데카르스 다 레버 직바데 레버 직바데가 산다카르 라비르스 람삼든 주마메다 실록 송든 저기 레버 직바로스 디지디다 삼든 람삼든 주마메바데 카르스 실록 송든 저기 실록 송든 저기 미짐선 텔라테니 람삼든 주마메바스 든 송베르스.
And so now we come to the next, the 11th chapter, and the title of the 11th chapter is The Stainless Path of Meditation, and this, the union of shamatha and vipassana. And it's because this, there is the union of this shamatha and vipassana that it is called the stainless path.
Tatani Garzanatin, Liverpool Galakarland. Tertri Chukan Yambi Tontoni, living on Chilson Japa cheese. They are Omburumbat, Tembate. What Tatani Garzan, Omburumbat, Tembate, Ombu Yan, nearly topicals.
Now in our text, and so when we have seen the equality of all dharmas, it is important to rest precisely within the natural state. It is taught that in stages and by one's capacity that those of the highest powers will be liberated.
이게 가스나 가 저기 돈된 통마대 이 가르네 가상에 가르를 놔서 따와리 시바에 맞대. 근데 따와리스. 근데 인디 따위 그거나 가르쳐 그래. 이게 곰비 냠슬랭 거 말아야 돼. 곰비 니링노라 지진 샤파치 있어야 되고 곰바 땡겨 그랬어.
When we understand the meaning of the Dharmakaya, then we have come to understand the equality of all dharmas. Understanding the equal nature of all dharmas is understanding the ground. And if you recognize this meaning, it's also called the view. It's synonymous. This is the view. And so now, what do we do with this view? We now meditate in the state of the view. As we said before, when we have the view, we have meditation. So what do we do with this view? We meditate within it, within that state. And so it's important that we, as it says in our text, we rest within this natural state.
조바 친구 옛날 영어 가르치는 님은 맞지는 뒤로 동거 말아. 우리 인디다다 너니 마하 가르치나 동보 따와 됐다나 봐봐래스. 되네. 따와 따나 보면 따와 못 듣는. 니 따와 됐더니 이제 됐더니 이제 따와 돼 가르치나 되네. 랑신데 샤니나 되니 못 듣는 살비기 지라다 되니 가르치나. 티 시바직 부분 뒤로 말했어. 아니 람 냠슬랭 거래스. 되니 마 가르치나. 람 곰비를 마세게. 람 곰비를 마데 마다니 송비래스.
So what do we do within this natural state of the view? Then we practice, we rest and we meditate. So this is pointing out that there is a focus on practice. And so even in the great perfection, then we need to gain experience and we need to practice. So first you really must, the full meaning of the view kind of must descend upon you. You must recognize this view. And then after recognizing the view, what is said to be needed next is that we have to go through the various progressive stages. We need to go through the progressions of the path.
lam gombi ramba xie on di taso ta kar sana tane ombo rak gom japtang ani ombo rang gom japtang ani ombo tamar gom japtang ta to so ramba sin regrava ten le on di tane ta te tane xie ge yora tela tane lam gombi ramba se gres
And so then continue here to look into now this path of practice. It's said that it's taught in stages by one's capacity. And so actually there is a progression here of practice, and it corresponds to the different capacities of individuals. We have the superior capacity of disciples, and then the middling and the lesser, and actually the ways of the progression of practice comes a little bit further down here. And so now starting with those of the highest powers, I'll explain a little bit about this progression, which it says. And now in our text, those of the highest powers will be liberated by their realization of the natural state, by seeing meditation and its object as non-dual. Appearances and possibilities are fundamentally liberated. To this nature of mind, there is no action or effort. This impartial rikpa appears like the flow of a river, without dividing sessions or breaks, identifying it as this or that. All is self-liberated in the pure land of Samantabhadra. And so we have this way of the individual that engages with this like the flow of a river. And so those of you who were here last year have a little experience in this. We discussed it within the context of the 3 words that strike the vital point when we were discussing the river-like flow of yoga. And this was in context to this unceasing practice, that one engaged in an unceasing practice. There were no breaks at all in one's practice. Just like the flow of a river, does it flow during the day and then at night, then cease for a little while and start, then again during the day and stop at night? But no, unceasingly it flows. And in the same way, for those of the greatest capacity, then they have the unceasing flow of practice. And so for the superior capacity practitioner, then they are in a state of the constant experience of having things arise and be spontaneously liberated, naturally arising, naturally liberated. Just like the example of a really great river, a really big river that flows through a place. It naturally flows, it naturally and continuously flows without stopping. There is no saying, no, oh, take a break now and start again. It is a constant flowing. And in the same way, to the individuals who know the essential point of liberating that which arises, they are in a constant river-like flow of practice, of arising and liberating, arising and liberating. It is like the great river-like yoga practice.
네, 지금 내가 감사 가르쳤는데 된다고 저 정도 만들 냠는 챙긴데라더니 텐당 텐성 이해와 여러배 텐다 텐성 이해와 여러 냠작과 지톱 그 이해와 여러 디 짐생 같은데 그 텐당 텐성 니 가서 냠작 지톱 이해와 이거 말았어 매비 짐생 가서나 그 딱봐 가서나 냠는 되게 ngāngā rāngshī rāngchū tā rūgī yarwa rīn tā sū tīndāng tīntsum dā ñamshok jītab kā tā rīgā īwā kākā tā rī bōgī yō mā rā yas tī tōndā tā tā rī yas
Jimsen di kōso di tāpār di shār dāngrō
shātru kīnā
dēgī yō rī
shātru kīnā yōpa tēlā tēnī tā rī nā tā rī kō ñamnā jīnchī mē bā yorwa tī jimsen tēlā tēnī tā rī kō ñamjak jitok kāpse tendang tensam se yewa de gogiyo mares de yo mares.
And so for the type of practitioners, like it discusses in the 3 words that strike the vital point, those that are the river-like flow practitioners, then is there a reason for them to make different distinctions and different breaks in their practice, like, oh, this is a time of meditation and this is like post-meditation. Is there any time of meditation and post-meditation for them? And so why is that? What is the reason?
냠작당, 지톱당, 텐당 텐섬 이해가 먹어야 돼 가르스나 탐칠 가르스나 되니 라시 랑쪽 그 냠는나 참는 디전선 그 이와 카가데 제국 말이에스
Dila poson consulti len dere.
무금비 곰바 세나 돈다 무금비 곰바 세나 돈다때 내 직바에 막 하고 나다 그랬어. 양 하마고나 잔다 무금비 곰바세 돈다 하마고나 되니 내가 말한 이다 진짜 시작상 어때 진짜 시작 그래. 그래 세나더니 같이 튼슴 이와 매발에 냠석 지도 같이 이와 제국 말에서 나더니 니 코다 무금비 점선데 코 탐지 냠는 라샤르기요 라샤랑 쪽 끝났대 요르마 이 점선 탐지 냠는 저것다 각같이 고기요 말했어. 무고비 점선 그 맞지 버려. 원나도 책으로 왔더니. 무고비 점선 그 가르서는 코 탐지를 가르더니 네 추억의 진 남생 그 정말 냠는 차가요랬어. 탐지 냠는 샤르기요. 이 점선 그 고기 말했어.
So the reason that there are no distinctions between meditation and non-meditation is because for them it's all meditation, it's all practice. When you know the essence of liberating anything, all and anything that arises, one is in a constant flow of practice. One's practice never ceases like a great river. So the reason that they don't need to make any distinctions, divisions, or sessions is they are never not in this flow of practice and of liberation.
다가르스나 정당 타만 얘기 가르스나 되니 공부를 해서 내가 되니 정당 타만 얘기 가르스나 공부를 했을 되니 공부의 진생한테 말씀을 just 당도 양심하다 그래서 나도 지금 공부를 해야 something formally 해서 참나죠.
Those of average and low capacities have to make an effort to be familiar with this until self-grasping has subsided into space. So those actually of just the average or middling capacities or the lower capacity of practitioner, they still need to make this distinction. They need to make these distinctions and continue to familiarize and make an effort to familiarize in the practice. And it said that they must rely on many various methods as well.
다징아서 오보 라프고데 대시에바이 맞다. 다더니 마가 시에게레스는 장당 타마지 된지지된 장당 타마니 때 르바진데 가스나더니 공부를
And for those individuals, those of the average type and of the lower capacity, lesser capacity, until they have been rid of their self-grasping, until self-grasping has subsided into space, it says that they must rely on meditating and using various methods. And so for average and the lower capacity people, is there a distinction between meditation and post-meditation for them? Is there a reason for them to kind of like make these separate sessions and make divisions and distinctions in what is a practice session and what isn't? Yes, and that's because they haven't yet reached the ability to have this unceasing kind of practice, the practice that is a constant flow.
Chills, Dini to ship something tabla things. And not talking about the girl, was a super corvala chin, Beba, Dini, Dimino, Jichigres, Subala, Tivale, Jichigres, he jumps and good to Nicholson at that possibility. The dog, the non talk, the Toliaga chatting also something a tabla thing, something a tabla thing, and Yamanchig, we rest on the rest.
Text. In particular, bad thoughts have led us into samsara. To be free from these, rely upon the means of meditation. And so, what keeps us bound in samsara is that we take up the karmas. We engage in a way that we take up the karmas that binds us here. And in order to learn how to liberate the mind, then it's said here that one needs to rely on the method of meditative absorption, and then one needs to practice, one needs to familiarize.
Ni chigarawa, ni simchi, any person, simni yar bajin mara, and Namtok Jatamba part, Namtok Japat, and Rigi, Tini Garsagur, Bajan, Tenita, Namtok Chini, Cho, Tini, and Rigi, that the Jason Vaina, and the Karchapare. Then also the Tegatin, Lima was under water, Lima was under rest. Then do Namtok Tega, Karcharas, and also Korala, Jinchil, Meba, and also Korala, Jinchil Meba, Korea, the Jiti Shagre, as she be done rest.
So the text says, bad thoughts have led us into samsara. So this constant conceptual thinking, this one thought after another. First we have one, which leads to two, which leads to three, which proliferates into four until it gets to 100. We have this constant barrage of conceptual thinking. And what do we gain from this? What is the outcome? This is the way that we gain karma. We accumulate karma through this, and therefore we accumulate the causes for samsara with this karma. In an unceasing way, they just keep coming and coming.
Tendri Mongo, Trunterwa, Truntel Senagoson, Truntini, Trunte Jigila Jigana, Trunte Barbat, Namtok Jigila, Marma, and Namtok Truntel Segawat, Namtok and the G, Namtok Truntelion di Tasso, any Charles and the thing also getting Namtok Mongo, 추한테 말이다서 아 알아서 그 컨셉을 남도 되게 지선장을 되는 아니 알아서 컨셉을 했더니 딱 알아서 탕책을 했어 리몬고 싸 되게 탕책을 왔대 남도 그 지선장을 내가 알아서 가서 자야 그렇게 비어말 내가 알아서 탕책을 했어 근데 지디다서다 근데 그 남도 그 지라가서 가디는 장다나 내가 가서 그렇게 라크레베스나 아니 알아서 가서 자야 그렇게 가리 갖고 그랬어 그래서 라카말했어 어떤데 이제 생명과 수치들 그 말했어.
So the way these thought patterns work is it starts with one, and then we then kind of give that some credence, and then it leads to something else connected to that, and then we are thinking about that, which leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. And we follow after them. We give them some kind of credence, follow after them. They continue to proliferate, and they never cease. They never stop. And so how, we really become wearied. We never get a break from them. We never rest. So how is it that we can, find any ease of mind or relaxation whatsoever when this is the case?
아니, 알아서 생진세야 될까지 남도 그 짓은 탕체선 하고서 탕체체 담아 어떻게 그랬어? 어떻게 생각하고야? 담아 어떻게 그래? 당에 가르쳐 그래. 어떻게 그랬어? 탕체체 뭐 담아 어떻게 했다는 착각을 했어.
So we sentient beings, this is the nature of things for us, and we have this constant, we have first it starts and it gains kind of some speed, and it's a kind of a constant barrage, one thing after another, until we are completely out of options. We are so wearied, we are completely at our wits' end, looking for an out.
어떻게 받지 그건 그래 왜서나? 니스 다 주고 말아. 그래서 어떻게 받나 전에 지금 그건 그 말했어. 그래서 니스 다 주고 말했어.
And so just reaching that final point of being totally ready for an out, having hit the wall, the last straw, is that enough? Does that resolve the situation? Having met that wall? No, it does not. It does not resolve the situation. It's not enough, actually. If we need to free ourselves from this constant barrage, this onslaught of thoughts and conceptualization, and we need to find the point of how to be liberated from this, how to reach freedom. And so, as it says in the text, to be free from these, rely upon the means of meditation. And so then, following on in our text, later the vast expanse of prajna arises free from extremes. The afflictions are suppressed by shamatha, and then by vipassana they are uprooted. And so this is pointing out the function here of these different aspects of meditation. And so first it says we need to familiarize with Shine. We need to familiarize with this single-pointed calm abiding. And the function of Shine is that it suppresses our like our rising thoughts and emotions. It suppresses them.
랑통그 질리대 가르르스는 랑통기는 유모 자완진 송대가 니 랑통그가 랑소 가르스는 유모의 자완이 매번 제야 같은 가르스는 뭐 답시들이었어.
And then what does the Vipassana do? Through the wisdom that comes through Vipassana, then they are actually cut at the very root. They are uprooted. That's the function of Vaktung, or special insight meditation.
담보 신이라 때문에 가르스나 가르치니 공부거래서나 알아서 니모라파 또좀 고 맞는 소이나 니모라파 또좀 고 맞는 소이나 알아서 그 가르스나 때문에 셈시와라니 통그래서나 셈시와라니 통말했어. 알아서 셈시와니 이야기 찾아 가르스나 니모라파 또좀 반 고는 거라 고노야 니모라파 또좀 고는 찾다 되네 담보 셈데 파트네 강서 그랬더니 신이때라 공부 그랬더니 신이때라 공용 상황이나 알아서 그랬더니 강서 그제 그 니모라파도 탐지 했더니 내가 찾다 그랬더니 맞더니 시와 찾다 그랬어. 니모라파 시와 신이 시에서나 니모라파 시와 대해서 총으로 잡아. 시와세 그랬대.
Why is it that we need to start with Shine? Why do we put this emphasis first here on the calm abiding, single-pointed calm abiding meditation? It's because, first of all, if we have a lot of coarse conceptualization, a lot of rising thoughts and so on, a lot of coarse conceptualization, are we going to be able to kind of rest peacefully, have this clear, resting, peaceful mind? No. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to kind of subdue, have this coarse conceptualization settle down through the calm abiding meditation. That's why we start there.
아니 나라서 지금 유모 라파테 간지 그랬잖아. 그래서 친욕반다고 그랬어. 하양 지금 친욕반은 하고서 소파에 친욕반이 자요나 되냐나 대 간데레스나 링아라서 유모 라파라고 그랬다. 아니 최대 친망글와 되니까스나 최대 망글을 자나 소파 참아마 올라가고 그랬다. 최대 친망글세나 하고서 마요가 내가 부장 맞다는 치마다 아마 장로 하고서 누구는 게 최대 침 부족 맞다 최대 이 맞다나 치마 담아 조금 참아마 올라서니 치고는 담아야 자요고요. 담아 장 그래. 어떤데 했을 테니까 선다다 나라서 제가 니모시 신이라 마음이 어디 타서 그래서 나라서 샘도 간다 잡아요. 친욕반다고 자요 그래서.
And so when what are these coarse, what's an example here of these mind filled with kind of coarse conceptualization, a lot of conceptual thinking and so on. It's like, stirred up water. If we were to really, there was some sediment and we really stirred up the water, stirred it all around and, got it going. That's like the mind being full of a lot of coarse conceptualization, a lot of thoughts and so on. But what about if we just set this water aside and we don't stir it up, we just let it alone, don't do anything at all with it? Then what happens is the sediment in the water, it kind of floats to the bottom, and the water becomes very still, it becomes very clear. So when we have a mind with a lot of afflictive emotions, a lot of concepts, a lot of thinking, a lot of busyness, then this is like, having it being stirred up like water, like the water that has all that sediment stirred right up into it. So if the water is kind of all stirred up, is it going to appear clean? Is it going to be clean?
치드니 가서는 tig대마다 직발해서 당구말해서 샘코랑 당구말해서 샘 장마 착마를 샘 당구말해서 치당만.
And so that's right. If the water is all stirred up, it won't be clear. And in the same way, if the mind is all stirred up like that mixed up water, then it will not be settled and clear if it is stirred up with all of this thinking and so on.
근데 다시 따뜻한 가서 샘 대가서는 유모와라파 치뚜기 작업한 놈들 가서는 파타야게 쳐라 담보 같이 그래서는 담보더니 샘제 지금 신이 그 탑텔라 공부를 지발해서 신이 때라 공부 용성에나 유모와라파도다 근데 그것난이 되는 치 당마 잡아놓은 거 가서 그랬더니 샘들더니 샘 시와라니 연든 담진 그러더니 문터야 세트야 어떤 용기가 말했어.
And so to clear up the stirred up mind, of course, conceptualization, then we engage in single pointed meditation of Shinei, calm abiding. And in the same way that we will see the aspect of clearness in the water when it settles, then one will see the true qualities of the mind through this calm abiding meditation.